Yo, guys, what's going on? Lucky Cheese 7 is back again to give you guys Eden Zero Chapter 255 live stream discussion slash review. Oh my god, it has been a super long time since I've done like a solo Eden Zero chapter live stream discussion. I did one last week. I was like a catch up on like the last 7 chapters, but I think this is the first time since what universe? No, like since Universe Zero started, right? Let me double check. Hold on, because I'm actually kind of curious now. Let me look back on Eden Zero. Yeah, so since chapter 222, it has been a while. Because like I covered, because then since then I've just been doing like like a multi-chapter stream, like from 223 to 235, and then 236 to 247, and then finally I was able to tackle 248 to 254. So finally, after months, we're finally getting this rhythm back into play, where I tackle one chapter a week. And boy, does it feel great. It feels great, honestly, to just tackle one chapter. And it's safe to say that with this one chapter of Eden Zero, chapter 255, that we're pretty much done with Mills. I think the Mills arc is now officially done. And I'll delve more into that as we get further into the chapter. So let's start off real quick. So we're like, here's the thing. Technically, we're not even in the Yukino Cosmos saga. That's something we need to consider. The Yukino Cosmos saga, for the most part, it's now done because what we get here for this chapter title, as we see Pina like just watching TV, it's kind of very subtle on Hero's part too, because given the context of the chapter at the very end, it's a little ironic that he draws this particular cover page, and then we get the end of the chapter, and it's like, what? Yo, Hero, you can't do this to us. Like, my God. Um, but case in point, yeah, like if I look at it, let's see, yeah. So the Mills arc in total with this chapter would be what, 8 chapters? Yeah, it'd be 8. It'd be like around 8 chapters. And one thing to keep in mind with is that this volume right now, volume 29, we're only 2 chapters away from finishing up volume 29. Keep this in mind. There's only 2 chapters left. Yeah, is it 2 chapters? Yeah, it is 2 chapters. So something to keep in mind with. But before we delve into like the nitty gritty, we need to delve like the nitty gritty of the post discussion. Let's talk about the actual content of the chapter itself. So we're actually on the ship of Eden Zero. Okay? We're on the ship, we're flying off, and we see Old Man Wise, we see Burnett, Shiki over there, Hamura, Jin, Clean, Laguna, Rebecca's there too, Young Weiss is there, Ivory's there, Moscow's there, Valkyrie's there, Hermit's there too. Witch might also be there. I don't see Witch there in like the first page, but we see that Old Man Wise comments on well. So this is the Eden Zero, and Burnett comments says like, "Weren't you just here?" And he says, "Yeah, but then Joker whisked me off to that digital world, and you beat her, right?" Like as she's like, you know, giving Wise like the little blushy look, which interesting juxtaposition that Hero does this because as we see Burnett, like, clinging on to old man Weiss. Hermit looks over at the younger Weiss and she's like, "You're into bunny girls like her?" And you see like the sweat like on young Weiss's face is like, apparently bunny girls like her only go for old geezers. And Witch says, "You saved us all, Lady Rebecca." Valkyrie says, "Nice work out there, Rebecca." And freaking Ivory. Only Ivory would be the one to have thoughts like this. She says, "What kind of pervy things did you do to me when time was frozen?" And she's like, "I didn't do anything to you. Like, I didn't." And then you have Moscow. Like, Moscow's over here, like, "Why not? Everyone dreams of an opportunity like that." I'm like, "They do?" Which, funny enough, Clean says that. She's like, "Wait, they do?" And Jin is like, "Clean, don't talk to that guy." He's like, "As your older brother, I refuse for you to delve into these kind of conversations." I don't know. The Win sibling dynamics have always kind of been my favorite, just because of like Jin's reaction. Like it's funny. Anyway, Laguna says, "So is this Joker gone for good?" And Old Man Y says, "She was a game engine. She never had a physical form. So I want to believe that she's still alive out there on the internet somewhere." To which, you have Rebecca like smiling, like, "Yeah, me too." And you have Happy, "But she's working for Void." And Homura says, "Can we be certain she will not attack us again?" To which Shiki says, "I'm sure it'll be fine. I saw the look on her face right before she disappeared. She won't be hurting Rebecca again." To which Rebecca's like smiling at Shiki. Then you have Pino saying, "But why would a game engine made by the professor be working for Void?" And Old Man Y says, "No idea. Maybe she liked his idea of a world for only robots." And then Ivory says, "Or Void found her first, considering how things turned out." To which Pino looks over at the professor looks over at her. "In case anything happens to me, take this." And she remembers, like, "Wait, that reminds me." And he's like, "Oh, yeah, here." So he gives Pino a USB, and he's like, "These are the memories you're missing." And we get told this, like, if y'all remember, like, early on in the arc, Rachel mentions this to Pino when she's like, "Oh dear, Pino, sweetie, haven't you told him the secret of the four shining stars yet?" What? And Ivory, remember at that time, she was like, "What is she talking about, Pino? Are you still hiding something from us?" And she's like, No, I don't know what she's referring to. But there appears to be some data in my memory banks that I can't open without further authorization." And Ivory's like, "That's it. Open it." And Valkyrie's like, "Give her a break. She told you she can't." And the professor says, "I met you once before." And Pino's like, "On Norma, you mean?" Which is where we get into a little bit of an interesting take here, because Old Man Wise points out, "You came to see me and asked me to remove those memories and leave all the others." And Pino's like, "I asked you myself?" And then the professor says, "Then you said you were going to wait for your master inside that case." To which Shiki then says, "But how did she end up on Norma 50 years in the past?" And the professor says, "The only thing I can think of is that there was something special about that case." And Rebecca's like, "You mean it wasn't affected by the chronophage?" To which Young Weiss says, "If memory serves, Ziggy made that case. Maybe that's how it was on Norma 50 years ago." And you see Pino feeling bad. She's like, "Memories that I erased myself?" And Ivory's still going like, "Well, open them. They might have a record about the secret about us." or a record of that secret about us. There we go, that's better. And which says, let's let Pino decide when to open the files. And Valkyrie says, yeah, I've never been in a hurry to know. And Ivory, a normal person would want to know, which is very meta. I'm not gonna lie, that is a very meta commentary from Ivory's part. Like a lot of us, like this was teased to us back in uh, the Cade arc, which was, or the Kaede arc, I think is how you say it. Kaede. I think they say it right. Cade. Cade's a little bit better, so I'm gonna say the Cade arc. So back in the Cade arc, we were shown little glimpses of the four shining stars, and they have some kind of history to the dark stars. So we've been teased about that since all the way back then, and I can kind of understand where Ivory's coming from. Like even Hermit says this too. Like for the record, I'm curious about it too. And you see like Pino like looking over at the memory card. She's like, I don't know. But then Shiki says, you don't have to force it, Pino. It might be something we don't want to know. Pretty sure we're gonna get the answer to this eventually. I'm pretty sure. Which you got Clean smiling, Jin smiling, Laguna smiling, Amora smiling, and the professor starts to walk off. All right, folks, I believe your mother ether's ready for you. So we'll go ahead and disembark now. From now on, it's your adventure. And Rebecca's like, Professor, you're not coming with us? He's like, nah, I'm gonna go check on things. I'm gonna go check things out on Retro Norma. I might get to meet young Bernie. And you see Burnett, and she's like, I'm not so excited about all this. And we get an interesting exchange because Young Weiss says, it won't make much of a difference. Burnett hasn't aged a bit. And the professor looks over at his younger self and he says, as for you, young me, well, you hang in there. Thanks. She gives him the hand wave off, like, see you later. Clean's like, older Weiss, he's so rugged. And Laguna's like, you think so? I mean, okay, look, here's the thing. If Laguna and Clean are not paired off by the end of this, because here's the thing. When it comes to ships, I feel like you kind of know from the not from the get go, but you get an idea who's gonna be paired off with who. Like Shiki Rebecca's super obvious. It's very much got the Haru X Ellie vibes to it. Vibes in the sense of like, okay, main female lead, and like the hero and the heroine always pair up together. I mean, Natsu and Lucy still has been a very slow burn train, but like Shiki Rebecca was pretty obvious. And then I feel like the dark stars and the shining stars might be a bit connected on that too, to some degree. Um, I just feel like there's something there with Clean and Laguna. But ship talk aside, Rebecca says, you take care too, Professor. Happy says bye. You see the ship leaving off. And Rebecca's looking. She's like, we'll miss you. Which something I forgot to comment on, but if you notice Rebecca's outfit, Hero did a sketch of this. I want to say last week, where he drew Rebecca in like this specific outfit, with just a shirt on, and I think it's interesting that in this chapter he gives her that same outfit. Hero's been known for that, where like he'll draw certain things, and that may seem out of context. Like, okay, that's a cool drawing, but somehow, some way, he kind of implements that, and has it be a relevant thing in some way, shape, or form. So whenever you see like Hero doing like like illustrations and he's posting them on Twitter, like, don't just brush it off as like, okay, is this hero doing like side art? Maybe that art could be relevant to something, and I feel like that's the case here. That was definitely an intentional part on Hero with this. But yeah, let's see. We'll miss them. And then Shiki says, "Time for us to get going to see Mother." Rebecca's smiling. Wise is smiling. Homura smiling. Jin and Clean smiling. Laguna's smiling. Ivory, Valkyrie, Happy, Moscow. Herma gets a coordinates and she's like, installing the Mother Ether. Show us the path to Mother. Full speed ahead. Wait, did I get? Oh my god! I think I got Witch and Rebecca mixed up. So the one who said we'll miss them was actually Witch. So my bad on that, guys. My bad on that. We see that Witch orders like full speed ahead, follow the trail of light, and as that's going on, you see them kind of venture off somewhere. Hamor even points at you like, "What is happening? A border between cosmos?" Weiss. Rebecca, we're going into a new cosmos? Moskoy! Which, always remember, whenever you're doing a stream, keep your jug of water on you at all times because some of them you'll be out of breath. I'm just saying. Anyway, so we see them like slip space. They like use the hyperdrive essentially. And they're in, kind of what the chapter title suggests. They're in an unknown cosmos, unknown regions, if you will. And this is a beautiful illustration, by the way. It's like classic space for the most part. You got the asteroid belt and everything. And Valkyrie's like, where? I don't know. Like, even Hermit's like, there's nothing in the database. It's a new frontier. And Ivory even says, like, the cages are going nuts. Clean says, this cosmos, is there nothing here? And Homura says, no, there are stars and planets. What young Weiss, I should say just Weiss now because old man Weiss left. But Weiss here says there just aren't dancing flower petals or an ocean of fish or anything. And Jin's like, but it still has a mystical feel to it. Laguna, is this where we'll find her? And Rebecca says, Mother's here somewhere in this cosmos. And Happy says the trail's still going. Shiki says if we follow this light, it'll take us to Mother. To which we get to the Garden of the Edens, where we see Pino just there by herself. And where we end off on is a very interesting note because Pino, presses the button on the side of her sleeve, and we see the recording of Ziggy. And she says, Master Ziggy, the four shining stars. And Pino's like in tears. So she's crying about something. Something happened in her memory database. And it's getting her to tears. Which is an interesting note to end off on. I'm not going to lie, because the thing about Eden Zero that a lot of people have kind of been like griping at, like since we've entered Universe Zero, is that there hasn't really been that many stakes, or at the very least, the stakes have felt like no. Okay, I shouldn't say stakes because the biggest stakes in Universe Zero is that like you get no do overs, so those stakes are still there. What I mean to say is that like the intensity hasn't really been high. That's what I'm trying to say here. Is that there hasn't really been a high intensity when it comes to Eden Zero since we've entered Universe Zero. Like, it's been, for the most part, chill. Like, there are moments where it's like, oh shit, like, it seems like we're like getting into something, and then it kind of gets pulled back. Or in this case, it's like, okay, it may look like something's going a certain direction, but then no. Which there have been ups and downs. I'm not gonna say all of them have been perfect, but I'm not gonna say all of them have been like amazing either. There's been like a nice balance, I would say. Like the Laguna one, I knew from the get go because I always remembered pre Universe Zero, Laguna's main thing was about acting. So when I saw that scene of him like shooting uh Aruna's mom, like I had a feeling I was like, okay, something told me they're probably just filming a scene. And it turned out that was just like okay, that wasn't so bad. In fact, I think that perfectly fits in well with Laguna's character. Very much so. But here's the thing: all that stuff that we got, that was from the Eden Zero reunion arc. So we had 27 chapters of that, of us just gathering everybody back up together. Not just that though, using that also kind of allowed us to, get things like Valkyrie. Like now we actually get to see the four shining stars interacting. And like, yeah, we also got Witch back too, which I've seen a lot of people still going like, oh, like, why are we doing this? Why are these characters coming back? I mean, people act like what happened before is like completely discarded now. I don't know how many times I have to keep bringing this up, but like what the characters went through, like they still happened. Like the characters still felt all that. Like Shiki felt the loss. Rebecca, like all these losses that we've seen throughout the course of the manga, and us getting these characters again, like our characters have felt that. It's not like say we went back in time and our characters like don't know shit. Okay, like if we rewind the time like completely to where like the characters are completely unaware of it, I would say that's a bigger problem for me than anything. Like the fact that our characters are aware of the events that happened before, I think is good for the most part. But my thing is this. So first time in a while we've actually seen the characters crying. Especially Pino. Like the fact that we get a recording from Ziggy. The fact that she knows and it's related to the four shining stars. If I have to take a guess on what kind of role the four shining stars are going to play, because don't you guys think it's a little bit of a coincidence that things are going smooth right now? We haven't really run into Void yet, but more importantly, that we also brought back Witch and Valkyrie. Like the four shining stars are a pivotal key in this. And something that's been on my mind since I've read this chapter is, well, getting to Mother. The key to getting there, is it going to be Witch, Ivory, Hermit, and Valkyrie? Are they going to be the key? Like, is it going to get to a point where they have to sacrifice themselves? And that is what's going to lead us to getting the Mother. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I'm just, guessing. Because why would Pino cry? Is the big thing. Pino was crying for a specific reason, and I highly, as long as I've known Hero, again going all the way back to Rave Master, Hero does not have a character cry unless there's a specific purpose. It's happened in Rave Master. It's happened in Fairy Tale. And it's happened here multiple times. Multiple times in Eden Zero. So something tells me it's gonna be something. Something tells me it's gonna be a tragic event. I mean, let's not forget about this too. When it comes down to Rebecca's nightmare, I'm still keeping that in the back of my head. Rebecca's nightmare of Happy being dead. Remember the words that Shiki said. Shiki said, "Happy, what's a dead cat gonna do in all this?" And at first you'd be thinking, well, Happy's a mechanical robot. But here's the thing: Happy is flesh and blood right now. He ain't turning into the Happy Blasters that Rebecca's been carrying around for the last 20, like for the 25 volumes of Eden Zero we've gotten prior to this. So yeah, I'm just saying, look, Happy kicking the bucket now is more viable than ever. Okay, that's still on the table, and that event could still very much lead to Shiki being a little bit more cold, and we've seen how not ruthless per se, but we can see Shiki go into like those dark territories. It's very light per se, but we've seen Shiki go down that road a few times. So, as something to kind of keep in mind with, and yeah, like outside of that, I mean, I'm really trying to think. Like, obviously, the next chapter is the penultimate chapter of volume 29. And then the next chapter, chapter 257, is going to be the last chapter of volume 29. So, remember this: the Ziggy reveal, chapter 200. Okay? We were going to get a tease of who Ziggy was going to be. And I want to say 201 or 202. One of the two chapters, we get the mask break. And then we cut away. But then chapter 203, we get the reveal of the face. So I'm willing to bet that within these next two chapters, we're gonna get the answers from Pina as to what it is that she erased from her memory banks. And why specifically it's related to the Shining Stars. Because remember, she's crying. We don't know why she's crying, but she's crying. And more than 100%, I'm willing to say it's something tragic. I'm willing to bet that. But with that being said, you guys, I think that's pretty much it when it comes to this live stream discussion / review on Eden Zero, chapter 255. Overall rating for the chapter, I am going to give it amazing plus. It's an amazing plus chapter of Eden Zero. I wish we got a little bit more. It's my only nitpick. I wish we got a little bit more. But with where we left off on, it's a good cliffhanger for what's to come. And I can't wait. I really can't wait to see what Hero has in store for us. But let me know what you guys thought on the chapter. What was your favorite part about it? Do you have any gripes with the chapter? And aside from that, guys, that's pretty much it. I'm Look7. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more Eden Zero. And I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.